Welcome back, everybody. This Week in America on the Blue Funk Broadcasting Radio Network. Great to have you with us on the program today. Back with us is Joan Porte. She's the author of Signs of the Times, the ultimate astrological cookbook. Joan has been a professional astrologer for more than 30 years, studying under Adam Gainsberg, world-acclaimed astrologer, founder of SoulSignAstrology.com. We'll talk about that on the program today. Joan, welcome back. Great to have you with us.
Thank you. How are you?
Well, I'm doing fine and still hungry. Every time we get ready to talk and I go through the cookbook,
I got to send you food.
Well, yeah, instead of the cookbook, next time let's order food. And actually, you can do that. And there, at the beginning of the book, if you want to have an astro party that we talked about the last time, the astro dinner party, there are all sorts of things that you can do as well as the book to supplement that. I mean, we talked last time about people sort of run out of ideas. What are we going to do? How do we have we want to have, it's our turn to have a dinner party. We don't have an idea. A lot of great ideas here and unique ideas.
Yeah, and somebody says, well, I don't really know much about my chart, or I don't know my friend's chart, and I want to go deeper. And anybody who buys the book and emails me and says, we want to do an astrological dinner party, I'll be happy to just send you the charts. You know, I don't have to do a full interpretation, but I'll say, okay, this person has this much as their rising sign, which is actually more important than your sun sign. They have this as their sun sign. If they're eating for health, this is their sixth house. So you want to, you know, if they've got something there that's like they shouldn't be eating a lot of fat or something, you might want to, you know, cook this because it's better, it's healthier for them. So I'll be happy to do that for anybody who wants to do an astro party.
It's full of the book Signs of the Times, full of recipes, and you start with the appetizer, the main entree. You've got desserts, you've got everything broken down into categories, and some great information there as well. And let's talk about the food aspect of this. We mentioned this the last time. You actually started cooking at your mother's side. This is a love of yours forever. And your mother was one of those very scientific cooks that did everything just as you're supposed to, was exact in her measurements.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. She did not know. In fact, we had to follow her around and make her stop. Now, anybody who's had an Italian mother knows that they just love to be stopped when they're cooking, because she would say things like, you know, say, Ma, how much chopped meat should I put in, for instance? I don't know. Look at it. Does it look like there's enough? Like, Ma, what does that mean? But these people didn't, you know, the old cooks, that's how they cooked. Or she'd say, I don't know, put a handful in. Well, my mother had hands like twice the size of me, you know, but Ma, feel it. If it feels like it's enough, then it's enough. Smell it. Does it smell like it's enough? So it's a great way to learn, but it's a rotten way to do recipes. So we literally would follow her around as she was getting older. And then if she'd pick up something, we'd yell, wait, and we'd grab, you know, a scale or a measuring cup and make her put it in there and then say, okay, and write it down. And that's the only way we got halfway decent recipes from her. And all her sisters were the same way. Her mother was the same way. They just, whatever, it looks good. And it always came out, but if it looks, smells, or feels like it's all right, then you know it's all right.
That was sort of the original art of cooking. You just sort of experimented, and you knew when something was right, when something was not right. And the book you're listening to This Week in America, Signs of the Times is the name of the book, the ultimate astrological cookbook. Joan Porte is our guest on the program. Her website is signsofthetimes, TINES.com. Information on the book, and if you're thinking, I don't know a whole lot about astrology, but I'm always up for a new cookbook, you can just do the recipes, but I guarantee you before you get to the recipes, you'll take a look at the beginning of the book. Everything is laid out, a lot of great information there. And suddenly you're thinking, this makes some sense. This is a whole lot of fun, and I can actually see myself fitting into this category here.
Yeah, and what people, and there's a big tizzy, and I was involved in a tizzy. In fact, my latest blog entry is a royal tizzy. There's a big tizzy about the new royal baby because he was born like right when the sun was moving to Cancer into Leo. And everybody's like, no, he's a Leo. And some of us are saying, no, he's a Cancer. And it's like, you know what, guys, it doesn't matter because the sun is not that important. Get to know your rising sign. Get to know what's in your first house because that's what your personality really is. You know, so everybody's all worried. Everybody wants him to be a Cancer because Diana's a Cancer. And then they want to say he's the reincarnation of Diana. And I'm like, do you really think it works that easily? I mean, come on. It's just too easy. But yeah, so the more you know, like I said, when I said before I was a Gemini South Node, people are like, ooh, what does that mean? But that's actually a huge indicator of your personality, your rising sign and your south node, much more than the silly sun sign. That's all a Western construct.
So we think, in about 2 minutes left in the segment, but if we think, okay, we're sort of into astrology because I pick up the newspaper every day and I look and see this very generic thing that could fit everybody. If we do that, we're really not, we're just sort of sampling, that may even be a strong word. We're just really on the outside of astrology, sort of looking in at that point.
Yeah, as I say in the book, the people who do those, not the people who read them, I can understand why you'd want to read it, but the people who sell that stuff as astrology actually have done more to hurt astrology than the naysayers. Because, I mean, as I say in the book, there's 100 billion zillion people born under the sign of Capricorn since man first walked on 2 feet. Is every Capricorn going to have the same exact experience every day? Of course not. So it's fun to read. I understand, it's like people who say I don't watch reality TV, but they really do. It's fun to do, but it's not really astrology. It doesn't tell you much. I could do a 55-minute interpretation of your birth chart and maybe not even mention what your sun sign is, because it's that irrelevant when it comes to the whole chart.
Interesting. Just as we wrap up here, the book is Signs of the Times, the Ultimate Astrological Cookbook. Joan Porte is our guest on This Week in America. I mentioned before, my sign is Gemini. Just give me a couple of quick recipes of food items that are in the Gemini category.
I did the chicken lollipop because it's easy to hold, and you could hold it in one hand and it's small bites and you could keep talking, which is what every Gemini wants to do with people around them holding forth on something. And actually, I did my bison chili because it's fast. Again, it's somewhat portable and it's very good. It's got a little bit of spice. And I won a couple of contests with that for the Gemini. And then if you notice, all the appetizers for Gemini are very small, very quick, very much on the run, because that's what they like to do is eat and run.
I'm looking at that and I'm thinking that fits my portability requirement very well. I like that. Just some of the recipes.
Impatience.
Yes.
And your impatience, right?
Yeah. You can't microwave fast enough for me. The book is Signs of the Times, the Ultimate Astrological Cookbook. Joan Porte has been our guest on This Week in America. Her website is signsofthetimes.com. Information at our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Joan will be back with us on the program next week. Joan, thank you very much. We will see you next week. More to talk about.
Bye-bye.
This Week in America on the Blue Funk Broadcasting Radio Network.